Problem number 5 is one that you have to multiply by the conjugate. So the fraction is 8 over 8 plus 13i. So you multiply by the conjugate. What's the conjugate? Is the same number that you have in the denominator, but with the opposite sign in the middle. Then just multiply. 8 times 8 is 64. 8 times negative 13, that would be negative 104. I. The bottom is like having binomials, so you use FOIL method. 8 times 8 is 64. Outer minus 104i. Inner plus 104i. And last, minus 169 I squared. Again, I squared is just negative 1. So that becomes positive 169, right? Math.
Without the square, right?
Is I squared. When you have the I squared, it's the same thing as negative 1. So the I squared disappears. And that negative 1 times the negative makes the 169 positive 169. Everybody okay?
What's that number sign?
This is the plus sign. Plus sign. Okay, now let's combine the like terms. This is 64 minus 104i. See, the 104i and the positive 104i, the negative and the positive cancel. 64 plus 169, that is 233. But then the final answer, you write it as a complex number. So you separate that into a fraction.
What you get, 233?
233. When you combine the 64 with the 169, that is 233. And since you cannot simplify those fractions, that is the final answer. And that's number 5. Any questions in number 5? So that's when you multiply by the conjugate. Number 6. And it's asking you, in the function f of x equals 2x squared plus 4x plus 7, we have to determine if it has a maximum or a minimum. So for this, you need to go to the calculator. Go ahead and go to y equals. And then in the y equals, you put the equation. And then when you graph it, you can go to press zoom 6 to get the standard window. So this parabola is opening up. So what are we expecting to have, a minimum or a maximum? A minimum, because this is opening up, there's a point that is at the lower point at the bottom, that's going to be the minimum. If it was to be a negative parabola, then it's opening down and you're going to have a maximum. So let's find the minimum for this. We do second calculate, and then which is the option that we choose on that? Number 3. Then you're going to place the cursor, the blinking spot, on the left side of the minimum. Then you press enter. Then you're going to move the cursor, that blinking spot, to the right side, anywhere on the right side, and then you press enter. Then you press enter for the 3rd time, and it says that there's a minimum of, and then you look at the y value. So what is the minimum? 5. So you look at the y value for that, okay? So number 6, there's a minimum of 5. Now number 7. Number 7, this is a factoring problem, which is going to be x squared minus 11x plus 28, okay? So whenever you want to get the factors of a polynomial that is plus 28 at the end, what do? Well, we get the factors of 28. What are the factors of 28? 1 times 28, 2 times 14, 4 times 7, you said? And that's it, right? Then the signs are talking to you. These signs are telling you what are the factors that when you add them, it's equal to 11. And that is 4 and 7. So those are the factors. 4 and 7. And the sign is also telling you it's got to be the same. If it's a plus, it's the same. If it's a minus, it's different signs. So it's going to be the same because it's a plus. What sign? Both negative. Now that you have your factors, it says solve. Well, let each factor equal to 0. X minus 4 equals 0. X minus 7 equals to 0. Then solve for x. So, therefore, the answers are x is equal to 4, or it could be x equals to 7. Any questions on number 7? So far, so good? Okay. Problem number 8. It's the fourth root of 81. A to the 32nd power and B to the 21st power. Okay, this problem, you can rewrite it from radical form to exponential form. And that would be 81, A to the 32nd, B to the 21st. Now, in radicals, you can rewrite the radical into exponential by getting the root and bringing it to the bottom as a denominator. So the inside, it's the base, and the exponent becomes 1/4, coming from the root. Then after that, you can apply the properties of exponents, which is 81 raised to the 1/4, A to the 32nd raised to the 1/4, and B to the 21st raised to the 1/4. Then the 81 to the 1/4 is the same thing as rewriting. See, this is the 1 goes with the 81, the 4 becomes a root. So that is the same thing as the fourth root of 81. So the fourth root of 81 is, the question is, what number, when you multiply by itself, 4 times equals to 81? And that number is 3, because it's 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 is 27, times 3 is 81. Then, on A to the 32nd power, when you put it over 1, that is the same thing as A, 32 times 1, and then 1 times 4. So that would be 32 over 4. B is 21 over 1, so it's 21 times 1 and 1 times 4. So it's 21 over 4. Then after that, you have 32 divided by 4 is 8, so it's A to the 8. And then B, well, 4 goes into 21 5 times, and the remainder is 1. So I can rewrite that B as 20 over 4, and then is B and 1/4. I'm just separating it using the properties of exponents so that I can simplify the 20 over the 4, which is 5. So here, this is going to be 3, A to the 4th, B to the 5th, because 20 divided by 4 is 5, and then this would be A to the 1/4, which is going to be the fourth root of B. And that's how you can simplify that radical. Problem number 9. In number 9, you have to simplify the expression. So what you do with the numerators, if the base is the same, you just multiply the exponents. So since the base is the same, we're going to multiply the exponents, numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator. So it's going to be x, 4 times 2 is 8, 3 times 3 is 9. This is over x to the 1/3. And then once you do that, you can go ahead and simplify the radicals. Not the radicals, I'm sorry, the exponents. So as you recall from Algebra 2, you always move the smallest exponent to where you have the biggest exponent. In this case, the 1/3 is smaller than 8/9, so that goes to the top. So when you rewrite it, you're going to rewrite it x to the 8/9 times x to the negative 1/3. Why negative? Well, because when you change the position of the base of the number, the exponent changes in sign. So now when you multiply those two, you got to combine both of them. Well, I'm going to make the 1/3 into 9s. 1/3 into 9s, you multiply by 3, top and bottom. That is the same thing as negative 3/9. And I'm doing this so that I can combine the exponents. So it's 8/9 times x to the negative 3/9. Then 8/9 minus 3/9, well, that is 5/9. So it's x to the 5/9. And that's the final answer. Problem number 10. It says solve the system of equations using equations algebraically. Well, here you can use either substitution method, elimination method, Gaussian's method, matrices method. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and use the elimination method. The problem is 5x minus 4y equals negative 41. And 7x minus 7y equals negative 63. I'm going to go ahead and cancel the x's. You can cancel the x's or the y's, whichever. So I'm going to cancel the x's. I always use the opposite number of the coefficient. So on the first one, I'm going to multiply by 7, and the second one by 5. Then you distribute. So that's going to give you negative 35, positive 28y equals to positive 7 times 1 is 7, 7 times 4 is 28. On the second equation, when you distribute, you're going to have, the top is 35x minus 35y equals 5 times 63. 3 times 5 is 15, carry 1, 30, and 1 is 31. That's negative. Then we're going to combine the like terms. Combine the equations. The x's cancel out on the y's. That's going to be negative 7y when you combine that. And for the numbers, let's see, that would be 8. You have to subtract 287 from 315. Borrow, that would be 2, so it's 28, and that would be negative. Then you just divide by negative 7. So here, the y equals 4, but then I have to find x. You can find x by using one of the equations, doesn't really matter which equation you want to use, and substitute y for 4. So the y is 4. So here you have 5x minus 16 equals negative 41. You add 16, the opposite of that. So 5x equals to 25, and 25 negative because the 41 is negative, divided by 5, x equals negative 5. So there you have the two answers. So the solution, when you give the solution, you always give the solution in parentheses. First the x, which is negative 5, and then the y, which is 4. And that was number 10.